The journey toward owning your darkness and awakening your light begins with awareness, the crucial first step in any process of self-transformation. Awareness is the conscious recognition of what exists within you, the hidden emotions, the unacknowledged fears, the unresolved wounds, and the suppressed desires that have quietly shaped your life. So often, we move through life on autopilot, reacting to circumstances, habits, and relationships without truly seeing ourselves. We mask our vulnerabilities, deny our discomfort, and chase external validation, all while fragments of our inner world remain hidden in the shadows. Begin the journey of transformation, you must pause and turn inward. You must look directly at yourself with honesty, curiosity, and courage. This is awareness. Awareness is not about judgment or self-criticism. It is the act of seeing without distortion. It is the moment when you stop running from who you are and start observing the full spectrum of your inner reality. It is the recognition that your fears, your anger, your pain, your envy, your grief, and even your desires are all parts of you, not enemies to be eradicated, but truths to be acknowledged. Third, of awareness, you begin to understand that every emotion, every impulse, every thought has meaning. Your anger may signal boundaries that need protection. Your sadness may be a call for deeper connection. Your fear may be highlighting areas where courage is required. Your envy may point to aspirations that matter to you. And your suppressed desires may contain hidden seeds of creativity, joy, and fulfillment. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dimly lit room. For the first time, you see clearly where you have been walking blindly, where parts of yourself have been neglected, and where your energy has been unconsciously scattered. This clarity is essential because transformation cannot occur in the dark. If you cannot see what exists within, you cannot engage with it consciously. Awareness is the act of bringing the unconscious into the light, of noticing the patterns, reactions, and recurring themes that shape your behavior. It is the ability to recognize when you are triggered, why you feel certain emotions, and how your past experiences influence your present choices. Many people avoid this process because it can be uncomfortable. The truth is often challenging to face. You may discover anger you did not want to acknowledge, fear you have been suppressing, or desires you have denied as selfish or inappropriate. You may see the ways you have hurt yourself or others, or recognize patterns that have held you back for years. Yet it is precisely in this discomfort that growth begins. Awareness requires courage, patience, and honesty. It is the willingness to see yourself without escape or distraction, to sit with your truth even when it is unsettling. This conscious observation is not passive, it is the foundation of power. Because once you are aware, you gain choice. Once you see clearly, you no longer need to be controlled by unconscious habits, reactions, or fears. Awareness creates a space in which you can respond thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively. It allows you to reclaim energy that has been consumed by denial, avoidance, or self-criticism, and redirect it toward conscious growth. Moreover, awareness fosters self-compassion. As you observe yourself, you begin to understand that your flaws, mistakes, and hidden impulses are part of your humanity. They do not make you lesser, they make you human. Each part of yourself, even the aspects have hidden or feared, contains wisdom and potential. Through awareness, you begin to meet yourself with curiosity rather than judgment. You recognize that your darkness is not something to be eradicated, but something to be explored. You begin to understand that light and shadow coexist within you, and both are necessary for wholeness. This awareness is the seed from which all transformation grows. Without it, you may attempt change superficially, mask your darkness, or force yourself into a version of who you think you should be. But with awareness, You are beginning to step into authenticity. You are beginning to see yourself fully, your strengths, your vulnerabilities, your desires, and your fears. This clarity allows you to take the next step, to confront the shadow, the hidden and suppressed parts of yourself that are calling for acknowledgement. Awareness is both the beginning and the gateway. It is the quiet, profound realization that change starts within, that your darkness is part of you, and that the light you seek is always waiting to be awakened. The moment you become aware, you plant the first seed of ownership over your inner world. You take responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, and actions, and you open the door to transformation. From this awareness, the journey begins, a journey into the depths of your darkness, where courage, understanding, and power await, and from which your light will eventually emerge. Awareness is the light that illuminates your inner landscape, guiding you toward the conscious choice to own your darkness and awaken your light. It is the foundation of freedom, wholeness, and authentic living, and it is the first indispensable step in the transformative journey of self-discovery. After cultivating awareness of your inner world, the next step in the journey toward owning your darkness and awakening your light is confronting your shadow. The shadow represents the parts of yourself that you have suppressed, denied, or rejected, the thoughts, emotions, impulses, and patterns you find uncomfortable or unacceptable. It includes anger, jealousy, fear, shame, guilt, and even hidden desires. These aspects of yourself have been pushed into the unconscious, yet they continue to influence your behavior, relationships, and choices, often without your conscious awareness. Confronting the shadow is the courageous act of bringing these hidden elements into the light of consciousness. This process can feel daunting because the shadow often contains elements you have avoided for years. Perhaps it holds memories of past mistakes, emotions you were told were unacceptable, or instincts that society has labeled as wrong. Meeting these aspects of yourself requires honesty, patience, and bravery. It is not about self-punishment or condemnation. It is about observing and understanding these parts with clarity and compassion. By confronting your shadow, you begin to reclaim the energy and potential that have been trapped in denial or repression. The shadow often reveals itself through triggers, projections, and recurring patterns. When you feel intense irritation, envy, or fear in response to someone else, it is often a reflection of a part of yourself that you have not yet accepted. These projections are signals, guiding you to areas of your psyche that need attention. By observing these reactions without judgment and asking, "What part of me is mirrored here?" you begin to illuminate the hidden corners of your inner world. Facing your shadow also allows you to understand the roots of your behavior. Many aspects of the shadow are formed in childhood or early experiences, when certain feelings or behaviors were deemed unacceptable. Over time, these suppressed parts accumulate and influence your adult life, often unconsciously. Confronting them is a form of liberation because it brings unconscious material into consciousness, giving you the power to respond with choice rather than repetition of old patterns. This stage of shadow work is deeply linked to awareness. Awareness provides the light to notice your inner darkness, and confronting the shadow allows you to explore it. Without awareness, the shadow remains hidden and continues to drive your life from the background. By consciously facing it, you no longer allow it to control you unknowingly. You begin to see that the parts of yourself you once feared or rejected are not enemies but sources of strength, creativity, and insight when understood and integrated. Confronting the shadow also fosters self-compassion. As you explore your hidden aspects, you realize that everyone carries a shadow and that darkness is a natural part of being human. It is not something to be ashamed of, but something to be acknowledged. This understanding softens judgment and opens the heart to acceptance, laying the groundwork for the next stage, radical acceptance. Through this confrontation, the energy in your shadow transforms. Anger can become assertiveness, fear can become courage, and guilt or shame can become insight and responsibility. You reclaim aspects of yourself that were previously denied, and you gain a sense of personal power and autonomy. The darkness that once felt threatening begins to reveal its potential as a source of growth and wisdom. Confronting the shadow is also a lesson in humility. It teaches you that wholeness is not about being flawless or entirely good. It is about embracing all facets of your being. It is the acknowledgement that light and darkness coexist within you, and that neither should be ignored. This awareness of duality prepares you to move into acceptance, where you no longer merely recognize your shadow, but embrace it fully. Ultimately, confronting your shadow is an act of courage and self-honesty. It allows you to take ownership of your inner world, reclaim lost energy, and prepare the ground for transformation. By facing what you have avoided, you unlock the potential to awaken your inner Li. The process is both challenging and liberating, because it requires looking deeply into yourself and holding space for all that you find there. Confronting the shadow is the pivotal bridge between awareness and acceptance, and it is through this brave confrontation that the journey toward wholeness truly begins. After confronting your shadow, the next stage in the journey of owning your darkness and awakening your light is radical acceptance. Acceptance is the conscious decision to embrace all parts of yourself, both the aspects you admire and those you have long resisted. It is the act of saying yes to your full humanity, without judgment, denial, or resistance. Radical acceptance is not about resignation or passivity. It is a courageous acknowledgement that every part of you, including your fears, wounds, and imperfections, has value and meaning. Acceptance transforms the way you relate to yourself. Before this stage, the shadow may have seemed threatening or undesirable. You may have felt shame, guilt, or fear about certain emotions or traits. Radical acceptance allows you to stop fighting these aspects and begin to understand them. It is the conscious recognition that your darkness does not make you less worthy, nor does it define your potential. Instead, it is a part of your wholeness, and by embracing it, you reclaim the energy, insight, and power that it contains. This stage is deeply connected to the previous steps. Awareness illuminated your inner world, helping you see clearly what exists within you. Confronting the shadow brought those hidden aspects into consciousness and allowed you to examine them honestly. Acceptance builds on this by creating a space of compassion and understanding. It is the bridge between recognition and integration, where observation moves into wholehearted embrace. Without acceptance, the shadow may remain acknowledged but resisted, leaving unresolved tension and fragmented energy. Practically, acceptance involves allowing yourself to feel your emotions fully. When anger arises, you recognize it without judgment. When fear or sadness surfaces, you meet it with curiosity rather than avoidance. Even traits you may have considered flaws, pride, stubbornness, envy, are met with compassion. Acceptance does not excuse harmful behavior, but it reframes your relationship to your inner experiences, transforming them from enemies into teachers. Radical acceptance also reduces inner conflict. Much of human suffering comes from resistance to reality, the desire for ourselves or life to be different than it is. By accepting yourself fully, you release the energy spent in denial, self-criticism, or avoidance. This energy becomes available for conscious growth, creative expression, and authentic living. Acceptance creates a sense of inner peace and stability, even in the face of life's challenges, because you are no longer divided against yourself. Spiritually, acceptance is the recognition that light and darkness coexist within you. You begin to see that every emotion, trait, and experience, no matter how uncomfortable, contributes to your development and self-understanding. This perspective allows you to move beyond self-judgment and cultivate self-compassion. It also prepares you for the next stage, integration, because you cannot unify what you refuse to embrace. Acceptance is the soil in which wholeness grows. Acceptance also strengthens relationships. When you embrace your own flaws and vulnerabilities, you become more empathetic and understanding toward others. You no longer project your fears or judgments onto the world, but respond from a place of clarity and compassion. This creates more authentic and harmonious connections, as your interactions are guided by understanding rather than denial or defensiveness. Ultimately, radical acceptance is an act of empowerment. It allows you to reclaim the energy previously lost to resistance and denial. It enables you to move forward with clarity, courage, and self-compassion. By embracing every part of yourself, you lay the foundation for true integration, where your darkness and light are united into a coherent, harmonious whole. Acceptance is the conscious choice to stop struggling against yourself and begin collaborating with the entirety of your being. Through acceptance, the journey moves from confrontation to transformation. You are no longer a fragmented, self-fighting hidden parts. You are a conscious, compassionate observer capable of embracing your complexity. Radical acceptance is the key that unlocks the next stage, the integration of your shadow and light, and the beginning of a life lived with authenticity, balance, and inner strength. It is here that the darkness you once feared begins to reveal its potential as a source of power, creativity, and illumination. After awareness, confronting your shadow, and practicing radical acceptance, the next stage in the journey of owning your darkness and awakening your light is integration. Integration is the process of unifying all the parts of yourself. Your light, your darkness, your strengths, your vulnerabilities, your fears, and your desires into a coherent, harmonious whole. It is the step where inner awareness, confrontation, and acceptance move from being internal exercises into a lived reality that shapes how you think, feel, and act. Without integration, awareness and acceptance may remain intellectual or emotional insights, but integration makes them functional, practical, and transformative in your daily life. Integration begins with the recognition that every part of yourself has a role and a purpose. The traits and emotions you once rejected or feared are not obstacles. They are sources of insight and energy. Anger, for instance, when unacknowledged, can erupt destructively, but when integrated, it becomes assertiveness and boundary setting. Fear can transform into heightened awareness and courage. Sadness can deepen empathy and connect. Ion. Each aspect of your shadow carries wisdom that, when consciously embraced and incorporated, strengthens your character and enriches your life. This stage is deeply connected to the previous steps. Awareness illuminated your inner landscape, allowing you to see yourself clearly. Confronting the shadow revealed the hidden parts that influence your thoughts and behavior. Acceptance provided compassion and understanding, allowing you to embrace all aspects of your being. Integration is the act of bringing these elements together, creating internal coherence. It allows previously conflicting or suppressed parts to work in harmony, generating stability, energy, and authenticity. Practically, integration involves observing your emotions and behaviors and consciously aligning them with your inner truth. It means noticing when old patterns emerge and choosing a response that reflects your integrated self. For example, if fear of failure arises, integration allows you to acknowledge the fear while taking deliberate action aligned with your goals. If resentment or envy appears, integration enables you to recognize the feeling without letting it control your behavior, using it as a guide toward unmet needs or desires. Integration transforms internal conflict into conscious, purposeful action. Integration also strengthens your resilience. When all parts of yourself are acknowledged and harmonized, external challenges and internal triggers lose much of their power to destabilize you. You respond from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. Patterns of self-sabotage, avoidance, or projection decrease because the energy that once fueled them is now available for conscious decision-making. Integration empowers you to live with consistency, emotional stability, and intentionality. Spiritually and psychologically, integration is the embodiment of wholeness. It reflects the understanding that light and darkness, strength and vulnerability, success and failure are all necessary components of being human. Integration transforms what was once fragmented into a unified self, allowing you to move through life with authenticity and presence. It is the foundation upon which your inner light can fully awaken because the energy of your shadow has been consciously transformed and harmonized rather than denied or suppressed. Integration also enhances creativity and self-expression. The energy and insights recovered from the shadow can now be channeled into meaningful action, personal growth, and authentic expression. Your life becomes an ongoing reflection of your integrated self, where your decisions, relationships, and contributions align with your deepest values and inner truth. By uniting your inner complexities, you unlock the power to live deliberately and purposefully. Ultimately, integration is the bridge between inner acceptance and authentic living. It is the stage where self-awareness and self-compassion translate into practical, conscious behavior and the ability to navigate life from wholeness. It prepares the ground for the emergence of your inner light, allowing your authentic self to shine fully in the world. Integration is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of harmonizing, balancing, and unifying the diverse aspects of your being. Through integration, the journey of self-discovery moves from insight to embodiment. You no longer simply understand your darkness and light, you live with them in harmony. This stage sets the stage for authentic expression, where the inner work done in awareness, shadow confrontation, and acceptance transforms into a life of clarity, strength, and illumination. Integration is the alchemy that turns hidden darkness into a source of power and prepares you to awaken your light fully. After awareness, confronting your shadow, practicing acceptance, and integrating your inner self, the next stage in the journey of owning your darkness and awakening your light is the awakening of your inner light. This stage is the natural progression from integration, where the energy and wisdom reclaimed from your shadow are consciously transformed into creativity, strength, and authentic expression. Your inner light represents your true self, your values, passions, talents, intuition, and purpose, shining through without the distortion of fear, denial, or judgment. It is the manifestation of all the inner work you have done, now expressed outwardly in your thoughts, actions, and presence. Awakening. Your light begins with recognizing that it has always existed within you. Your light is not something you acquire, it is something you reclaim by owning your darkness. When parts of yourself were hidden, denied, or suppressed, your light was muted. As you confront and integrate your shadow, accept yours. LF fully and unify your inner world. You clear the path for your light to emerge. This light is the authentic expression of who you are, unencumbered by masks, pretenses, or societal expectations. This stage is deeply connected to the previous steps. Awareness allowed you to see your inner reality. Confronting the shadow brought hidden parts into consciousness. Acceptance created compassion and understanding for all aspects of yourself. Integration unified these elements into a coherent whole. Awakening your light is the visible and active outcome of these stages. It is where the energy of your reclaimed self radiates outward, guiding your actions, decisions, and relationships. Without awakening your light, inner work remains internalized. With it, transformation becomes tangible, dynamic, and impactful. Practically, awakening your light involves conscious action that aligns with your authentic self. It means expressing your values and passions through your work, relationships, and creative pursuits. It involves making choices that reflect your inner truth rather than reacting out of fear, habit, or external pressure. The light you awaken is not self-centered brightness, but the force that connects you to purpose, inspires others, and manifests positive change in the world. Awakening your light also requires courage. Just as confronting your shadow required bravery, expressing your authentic self requires stepping beyond comfort zones, challenging old patterns, and standing in your truth. This stage is about living visibly as the person you have discovered and integrated, even when it feels vulnerable or uncertain. It is the willingness to be fully seen while maintaining alignment with your inner integrity. Emotionally and spiritually, awakening your light brings a sense of freedom, empowerment, and fulfillment. You are no longer fragmented or weighed down by suppressed emotions, fears, or hidden parts. The energy once bound in denial is now available for conscious creation, meaningful engagement, and personal growth. Your light allows you to navigate challenges with clarity and resilience, and it empowers you to contribute authentically to the world around you. Relationships transform at this stage as well. When your light shines, you attract people who resonate with your authenticity and values. You communicate and interact from a place of alignment rather than pretense, fostering deeper, more genuine connections. Your presence becomes a source of inspiration and clarity, and you naturally influence others through the strength and integrity of your being. Ultimately, awakening your inner light is the active expression of wholeness. It is where your inner work, awareness, shadow confrontation, acceptance, and integration manifests as life-affirming energy, creativity, and authenticity. It is the stage where you no longer simply exist, but live fully, purposefully, and courageously. Awakening your light is both a personal transformation and a gift to the world, reflecting the power, wisdom, and vitality that emerge when darkness is owned and integrated. Through this awakening, the journey moves from inner transformation to outward expression. Your light, now fully present, illuminates your path, energizes your actions, and radiates into your life and the lives of others. It is the living proof that owning your darkness does not diminish you. Instead, it is the source from which your true self, your light, power, and potential emerges fully and vibrantly. The final stage in the journey of owning your darkness and awakening your light is wholeness and fulfillment, the culmination of all the inner work you have done. This stage represents the harmonious balance between your darkness and your light, the integration of every part of yourself into a coherent, empowered, and authentic whole. Wholeness is not simply a state of being without challenges. It is the state of being fully present, fully aligned, and fully at peace with yourself. It is the reward of courage, self-reflection, acceptance, integration, and authentic expression, and it marks the realization of your true potential. Wholeness begins with the understanding that your darkness and your light are not separate or opposing forces, but complementary aspects of your being. The fears, vulnerabilities, and suppressed emotions that once felt like burdens have now been transformed into sources of wisdom, energy, and resilience. The authentic self you have awakened through conscious living is the integration of these experiences, providing you with clarity, stability, and inner strength. At this stage, the tension and conflict that previously divided your inner world dissolve, leaving a sense of balance and completeness. This stage is deeply connected to all the previous steps. Awareness allowed you to see your inner landscape. Confronting your shadow brought hidden parts into light. Acceptance enabled compassion and understanding for your whole self. Integration unified these elements into a coherent self. Awakening your light allowed your inner truth to shine externally. Wholeness is the natural culmination of this journey, where the internal and external, the dark and the light, the conscious and unconscious, all harmonize. Emotionally, wholeness brings a profound sense of inner peace. You are no longer at war with yourself or your experiences. Challenges, setbacks, and fears no longer provoke overwhelming anxiety or avoidance because you meet them with confidence and clarity. Your emotional energy is steady and balanced, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This stability fosters deeper relationships, more authentic communication, and a life guided by choice rather than fear. Spiritually, wholeness is the embodiment of self-realization. It is the understanding that you are complete as you are. Not because you have eliminated all flaws, but because you have embraced and integrated them. It is the awareness that every part of your being, including what you once considered darkness, contributes to your growth, insight, and capacity to live fully. Wholeness is a state of alignment with your true self, where purpose, authenticity, and integrity guide your actions. Wholeness also enhances personal freedom. When your inner world is unified, you are liberated from self-imposed limitations, external expectations, and the need for validation. You act from a place of inner authority and clarity, making decisions that reflect your values and authentic desires. Your energy is no longer wasted on denial, avoidance, or resistance. Instead, it is directed toward creativity, growth, and meaningful contribution. Living in wholeness allows your light to shine fully while honoring your darkness. It is the space where courage, wisdom, and compassion converge. Your darkness, once feared or suppressed, now fuels your strength and insight, while your light illuminates your path and inspires others. This balance creates a resilient, grounded, and empowered self, capable of facing life's uncertainties with poise and clarity. Ultimately, wholeness and fulfillment are the destination of the journey. Hat began with awareness. Owning your darkness and awakening your light leads to the complete integration of self, where inner conflict is replaced by harmony, fear is transformed into courage, and vulnerability becomes strength. It is the realization that every aspect of you, every fear, every flaw, every strength, every passion, contributes to your authentic, empowered existence. In this final stage, you experience life from a place of full alignment and conscious presence. You are no longer fragmented or divided. You are whole. You move through the world with confidence, compassion, and clarity, fully embodying the lessons, insights, and power gained through your journey. Wholeness is the living expression of owning your darkness, awakening your light, and embracing your true self, a state of being that is both liberating and transformative, offering profound fulfillment and enduring inner peace.